Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Radulich, that's me, Radulich Broadcasting premiere podcast. Damn you, Hollywood! And I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And we are down one Robert Winfrey tonight, who is normally the host of this here show. So I am taking over, and tonight we're going to get classy. Yes. We're going to get dignified. We are going to be talking Downton Abbey, a new era. And I am joined by an appreciator of the British culture, somebody who binged the entire series and dragged me to not one, but two movies. Ladies and gentlemen, my lovely wife, star of the Long Road to Ruin for Twilight, and the Long Road to Ruin for 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely an authority on all things crap. Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa
Yeah,
Radulich.
that's why I'm married to you.
Hey, the crazy guy over there with the... Listen, I'll make the jokes around here, madam. Melissa Radulich. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
How's it going in the next room?
Pretty good.
Okay, fantastic.
Nice and comfy.
Good. We will be joined shortly by David Wright, who it's been May Days here. David Wright has been on like every show in the month of May, and this is his last one, I believe. So he'll be joining us momentarily, as he is also into all things British. Quit looking at your phone. So let me.
I'm doing something.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. So if you can pay attention to the show you're on for just a moment. So tell me your history with the Downton Abbey IP. You know, I talked about you watching the show. We watched the movies, but like, how did you find out about it? Who told you? What did you end up thinking about the show, etc.?
So, as a teacher over the summers, I have
Take a drink every time she says teacher, by the way.
I have a lot of downtime. And in the summers, my teacher friends will always talk about shows that we want to watch over that break. Mm-hmm. So our mutual very good friend, Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth, who was on a triple feature last year where we focused on musicals, which is now in the archive. Plug.
She was the one who actually was like, oh, I have a show for you. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you have to watch Downton Abbey. And she warned me. She was like,
now at that point, how many times did you watch The Big Bang Theory all the way through?
Oh, like a million.
Right. Okay. We were on our millionth rewatch of The Big Bang Theory. All 14
I mean,
seasons.
look, that's what I watch every night before I go to bed. It doesn't matter.
And how many times had we gone through Friends at that point? We were up to 5 million.
I don't watch that one as much.
Okay.
I don't. I like it, but that's not my comfort show. My comfort show is Big Bang Theory.
So one of your friends suggested maybe not watch the same show for the 500th millionth time.
Yes, but little did she know she started a new addiction.
Yeah, she did.
She's really good about that, actually. She's the one who got me Downton Abbey. She's the one who got me on Rain. She's the one who got me on The Tudors. She's who got me on.
Can you let's go back. What order did these go in? Okay, what was the first when you stopped watching The Big Bang Theory? What was the first British show you watched, and then where did Downton Abbey fit in?
Downton Abbey was the first one, and Downton Abbey, of the ones I just said, is the only British one.
Oh, okay.
Because Rain is CW.
Okay. So when I mean British, I mean like takes place in, I don't know,
Europe. All of
having to do with the British people somewhere.
Other than Big Bang Theory and Friends, do I watch anything that doesn't take place in the
That's what I'm saying.
Europe?
Okay, so you started with the Big Bang Theory. You started with Downton Abbey. And then what was the next one?
The next one was Rain.
Rain, okay. And you watched and that was on the CW, and how many seasons was that?
4 or 5.
Okay. And then what was the next one?
Then I got into The Tudors.
Okay. When did you get to the rapey one?
Outlander?
Yes. Because I feel like that ended this streak for you. It's like you're like watching
summers ago. Yeah, and actually I keep being told that I need to finish it. I just, when they got to the United States, I just didn't care anymore. I wasn't interested anymore.
I don't want to watch no Americans.
Yep, exactly. Right. Take me back to Scotland.
All right, so let's go back to Downton Abbey here. Tell me about the show. You watched all the seasons of it. What did you like, didn't like? What was the big hook for you?
So what I love about it is you've got these parallel stories. You've got the upstairs, the elite, and you've got people who really run the house, and watching how their lives interconnect with one another, and watching how, these servants who are supposed to be invisible
Right.
aren't, and for the members of the household, there's everybody has a special place. And
Mm-hmm.
I just loved the story. I loved how I could be watching it, and 1 minute it's like making me smile and maybe not laugh because it's not funny.
Yeah.
Um, but like it'll make me smile because I like what's happening. And then like literally 5 minutes later, I'm ugly crying in the corner.
Yeah.
Because there's just always some tragic thing.
Hey, speaking of ugly crying in the corner on Damn You Hollywood, David Wright is with us. How do you do, sir?
I'm good, thanks. I'm not ugly crying in the corner. No, really, I'm not. Just something in my eye.
Okay.
Robert's not here tonight. It'll be okay. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good, thanks. Once I found the right chat to be in.
Fantastic.
That's because Mark has 50 of them, and you're probably in 48.
That's a bit of a conservative estimate, but sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm
I live with him. I hear the phone.
I have an empire to run, people. Anyway, David was with us last week when we reviewed the first Downton Abbey movie, and you can go back in the archive and listen to that. We talked a lot about how the first movie felt like a long episode, and in our prosecution and defense of such things, we talked about, does a long episode of television really amount to what should be a feature-length motion picture? And we batted that around. You can check that out from last week's show. David also talked about
results say yes.
Well, anywho, I stand by what I said. David also talked about his history with the show, so you can check it out there. We were just chatting up here with Melissa about her experience with the show. So real quick, back to Melissa, your 50-word or less review of the first movie. What did you think of it? Again, my contention at the time was it's not great in terms of what should be an event picture, a feature-length motion picture. Just felt like a long episode of television. But I guess if that's what you want and you're not as critical as I am about movies, it was probably fantastic. What did you think of the first movie? Melissa.
Oh, I thought you were talking about David.
No, I already had a whole podcast to talk about that.
What did I think of the first one? I liked it, but
I'm about to come in the room and take your phone away from you.
I wasn't on my phone. I honestly thought you were talking to David.
Take a drink every time she sticks her tongue at me tonight.
No, there's not enough alcohol. But it was fine, but for me, it took some weird turns, and like there were weird mysteries and like things they were going after, and it was kind of those where I liked it, but it was a long episode, and it kind of was. I loved it because it was Downton Abbey, but it was kind of meh.
It was kind of nice to be in that world again, but it wasn't a thrill ride. It was nice
to be in the world, but the story was not as good as they've been.
Okay. All right, so let's get into Downton Abbey, A New Era here. David, what did you, having seen the first one, what did you expect going into this second feature? Do you think that they were going to up, they always have to top the first one, and did you think that this one would be more of an event picture, kind of more of the same of what we got? Was there something from the show that you would have liked to have seen addressed? What did you think?
I was expecting more of the same, which was mostly what I got. Like, again, another extended episode.
I have a different opinion about that, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. Towards the end, they kind of kicked it up a notch.
Yeah, they did.
With probably like the one plot point they really set up heavily in the previous film.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they paid off the other plot point they set up in the first film right at the beginning of the film during the credits.
It's true. Actually, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine.
Tom getting married to what's her face?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You can't expect me to pay attention to these movies. No. Melissa, there were no car chases. I tuned out. What did you expect, or what did you wish for going into the second film?
I wanted it to feel like the show. I wanted it to feel like some of the things you wanted to see happen for the family started to happen. You wanted to start to see people. I wanted Tom to have his happily ever after. His character always was my favorite, and I always kind of had, aches for him because
Tom Barrows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two Toms in this show. It's a bit confusing.
Yeah. But like I was really happy with what happened. This one actually did make me smile and make me kind of giggle a little bit. And it was kind of nice to have that escape from reality and to enjoy it and feel happy and not have all the tragedy that always seems to follow this family.
All right.
I don't know why. There's always like massive tragedy.
Well, who wants to watch a TV show about where everything goes according to plan and nothing goes wrong? Okay.
I like to live in a warm, happy place. I am bubbles and sunshine.
Okay, I can't argue that point, but
I don't even have a sound effect for that. Here.
sure that works.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna go.
Bubbles and sunshine. Let's punch a horse.
Yeah, beating a dead horse. Anywho, let's get into the plot of this and get this review started. In 1928, the Earl of Grantham's widowed son-in-law, Tom, that is a lot to say, Tom Branson marries Lucy Smith, of simple names, Lady Bagshaw's secret illegitimate daughter and sole heir to the Bagshaw estate. Soon after, Violet Crawley, the Dowager Countess of Grantham. Dude, what's with these names, man? David, help me out here.
They're titled aristocrats. The names are important.
Dowager 9.5 hours to say.
If it makes you feel any better, Mark, there was a whole war over getting rid of this.
You're not wrong about that. We discussed that in our previous review. Moving on. Informs the family that years ago she was gifted a villa in France, as she
south of France.
The south of France.
The south of France. How she performs that line.
I loved it. It was the Granthams go on spring break.
Right. It needed more spring break, I'll tell you that much. From the recently deceased Marquis de Monorail, who she met in the 1860s. Violet is bequeathing it to her great-granddaughter Sibby, Tom's young daughter with the late Sybil Crawley. The new Marquis invites the family to visit. The ailing Violet is unable to travel, but Tom and Lucy, Lady Bagshaw, Robert Crowley, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Abbott and Costello, and Ollie, and Stan, and his wife Cora, and their daughter Lady Edith, and her husband, for the love of Christ, Bertie Pelham, the Marquis of Hexham, Scrooge McDuck, and except the invitation. Servants Bate, Baxter. This plot synopsis is just a list of names, and Mr. Carson go with them.
Yeah, see, everyone, Mark and Mr. can struggle with English names too.
We really can.
When I try hard enough. Meanwhile, a film production company asked to use the Downton for a silent film called The Gambler. You got to know when to hold them. Come on, David. Know when to fold them. No. Anyone? No?
No.
God damn it. By the way, that's a bingo square for those of you playing along at home when Mark sings. All right. Although Robert is opposed, his eldest daughter and estate manager, Lady Mary Talbot, says the offered payment will cover replacing Downton's leaking roof. The household staff are eager to see the film stars, but retired butler Mr. Carson considers the venture distasteful, as he does all things, apparently. That's his character. Lady Mary oversees the filming as the family journeys to France. The new Marquis welcomes them to the villa. His mother, Madame Montgomery, wants to contest the will, but her son counters that every will his father ever drafted included Violet Crawley. The Marquis tells Robert about the Dowager Countess's visit in 1864. He implies to his stunned Robert, who was born 9 months later, that they could be half-brothers. Cora later tells Robert she may be fatally ill, causing him to break down at the prospect of losing his mother, his Crawley name, and his wife in short succession. At Downton, the studio cancels The Gambler because silent films are because it's the invasion of the talkies, don't you understand? And silent films are no longer financially viable. Lady Mary suggests that director Jack Barber try salvaging the film by dubbing the dialogue. Actor Guy Dexter's voice is suitable, but actresses Myrna D'Agostino regional accent is inappropriate for her upper-class character. Barber persuades Lady Mary to dub Dagwood's voice, fearing her career is ruined. Dalglish refuses to finish the film, but Downton servants Annie and Daisy convince her to continue. Former Downton footman Mr. Mosley, who can lip read, reconstructs some dialogue and improves other scenes. The family returns to Downton while filming continues. Lady Mary rebuffs Barbara's flirtations, though her husband Henry's prolonged absence has strained their marriage. Downton's closeted butler, Thomas Barrow, accepts Guy Dexter's offer to manage his Hollywood house and be a traveling companion. Dr. Clarkson diagnoses wink. Dr. Clarkson diagnoses Cora with a pernicious anemia and treatable condition. Cora helps Myrna Dalglish develop an American accent, which she may save her career. When the troubled film's unpaid extras walk out, the Downton staff replace them, and the film is completed. Yay! Barbara offers Mr. Mosley a lucrative deal as a screenwriter. Mr. Mosley then proposes to Miss Baxter, unaware the entire household overhears on a microphone. In the interim, Violet assures Robert that the previous Lord Grantham was his father and nothing happened with Montmoral, though he pursued her. Violet's health deteriorates and she dies. Aww. Surrounded by loved ones. Mary as Carson, the train footman, Andy as the Downton's butler. Months later, Tom, Lucy, and Lucy return to Downton with their newborn infant. A new portrait hangs in the main hall. The late, the great Dowager Countess. Yes. All right. Take it away, Melissa. What do you think of this movie?
It was sweet. It really was. It was much lighter. It was very lighthearted in comparison to anything else with the show. Like there was comical pieces throughout. It was a fun story. It felt. I don't think they're going to do another one. I think this was kind of the let's end it on a happy note. Let's take it away. What do you mean? Why? Why do I think?
No. Let's end it on a happy note with the woman dying.
But you knew she was going to die. She was ancient, and she died surrounded by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like, yeah, she died, but it wasn't like a sad.
I don't disagree with you. I just thought it was kind of like the funny way to put it. It was like on this happy note of this woman passing away.
But that's not where it ended. It ended with them coming back with the baby and all that kind of stuff, and the family being together and everybody being a family.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So no, I really enjoyed it. I liked how it was much lighter. I liked how it was. It was not. It didn't have this weird like let's solve some kind of craziness thing. With like stolen items and all that. Like
right.
I liked. The stuff with the movie was really fun.
This didn't seem to be pushing an agenda this time, like the first one did.
It cracked me up though because it totally stole from Singing in the Rain.
In what way?
Because the whole with the dubbing of the voice was a huge part of Singing in the Rain. Because the main, female lead in Singing in the Rain, that was like the beauty who could do all of the mimicry, but she talked really horribly. And them having to, have her dubbed. So I was kind of giggling at that because it was like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, I got more of a Hercules in New York vibe.
I don't know that one. So.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's two different people with two different film experiences.
Yeah.
You two.
Yeah. It was Schwarzenegger's first American movie, I believe, where he was dubbed.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger's early career work going up through and maybe just after Terminator was a lot of shut up and look pretty. No one can understand you or knows what country you're from. And he was like, I'm from, like, what? I'm from Austria. Like, nah, if it's not Britain, no one knows where. It's either Britain or Europe. That's all we know.
Yeah. But no, I did. I really liked it. I liked how they handled things. I thought it was fun.
All right.
It made me happy.
Okay. I have more questions for you through this interrogation. Welcome back. David, your first impressions of the film?
My first impressions were it did feel a lot more like a extended episode, like just the way that the shots were blocked off. The first film I thought had a lot more of a cinematic feel to it with the way it was shot. I can't quite explain why, but just some of the shot composition was that.
So you're talking about just the principal photography, seems more tuned to the cinematic experience rather than the television. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Towards the end, it did get a bit more cinematic, and then the second half. I agree. They wrapped up, I think, pretty much all the plot threads going in from the show. Like the show ended well, but they certainly left a few threads hanging or dangling, I should say, and they're pretty much all tied up. So certainly, I think that this could absolutely be the final end for the series, and I'd be totally okay with that. Though, who knows? We might get Downton Abbey 3, The Search for More Money.
I hope.
Yeah. But I think they would have to start adding in a bit more characters or coming up with new plot lines, like having Mary stepping into her role as the new Countess.
What if we bring Lady Grantham back to life through the use of like electricity, cyborg parts? Like, here's my problem with Downton Abbey: not enough science fiction.
Well, Mark, the actor that plays Tom Barrows, he actually did secretly shoot a lightsaber fight storyline between shows, and you can find it all on YouTube. It's quite well done.
Oh,
it's like him and Mr. Bates having a lightsaber fight behind him.
The people in this series, they're phenomenal. I absolutely love them as human beings and like want to be friends with them.
Yeah, they have that British sense of humor that just will not quit, and they're quite happy to take fun of themselves. Like, you remember in Game of Thrones, the infamous Starbucks cop incident. Yeah, well, they had a water bottle incident in an episode of Downton Abbey where someone left their like bottled water up on the mantelpiece in one scene, and they got called out for it. So I think that soon after there was like a magazine article on the cast, and they did a group picture, and everyone was holding a bottle of water.
Oh, I love that. I was gonna say, I follow a lot of them on social media, like on Instagram and stuff, and they're great. They're just great.
They're having fun with it.
What Downton Abbey needs is a car, like a Subaru with a rocket strapped to it that they can fly into space.
So you want the next Fast and the Furious movie to be Downton Abbey crossover?
Yeah, I need a Downton Abbey. I think they just casted what's her face, Rita Moreno, for the next Fast and the Furious movie. That's not a joke. That actually broke right before the show started. Yeah, Dom's grandmother is being played by Rita Moreno. I was gonna say
she's really old.
Yeah, I'm hoping she like does car chases and flies into space. And yes,
Granny.
Yeah. Like I was happy with like Tom finally getting to have a bit of his piece of happiness. Season 1, Tom was very unlikable. He had a giant chip on his shoulder, and he made more trouble than was good for him. But over the course of the show, he softened a bit, and you started to appreciate him more as a fully fleshed out character. I thought it was a bit of a quick reveal. It's just kind of he's moping that the gentleman from the previous series or previous film, I should say, has got a beard, and then just the guy just basically goes up to him, like, "You want to come back to my place?" Like, "Oh, I thought you'd never ask."
Yeah,
that's a Monty Python reference.
I agree with you on that. It was a little like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm happy that it happened, but it was just like, well, that was easy. Like, the guy just pretty much comes in and just throws himself at Tom.
Are you talking about the scene with McNulty at the end?
Yeah,
it wasn't at the end. I mean, like it was. Yeah, but that's exactly.
Okay. Well, like pretty much from the first conversation, it's like, okay, he's totally into him. They're gonna hook up.
For people who might be watching this and going, did he say McNulty? Okay, so McNulty is the character that Dominic West, who's the actor. Dominic West is in this movie, and he plays. Who does he play? Do you remember what the character's name is? I'm trying to find him in the cast.
It was like Guy
something.
Yeah. Okay. So he plays Guy Incognito, and
plays the actor.
And so Dominic West plays Guy, but Dominic West was also most famously McNulty from The Wire, and so for the remainder of this review, I will be referring to him as McNulty, as that is the only thing I will ever recognize him as. Anyway, so yes, McNulty threw himself at Tom, and then at the end, I'll tell you. As somebody who looks for sexual chemistry in his movies, that had to have been the hottest scene in the entire movie. was McNulty and Tom at the end.
Yeah, I will give a strong second place for Mrs. Patmore at the dinner table at the end.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was so sweet.
Yeah, the secret to seduction: liquor him up.
Yeah.
Everybody else is drinking water. I've got good stuff.
Yeah.
He's a woman after my own heart.
Is there a character named Matthew in this show?
Yes. Well, there was Cousin Matthew.
Great.
Yeah.
Because we have friends
who died in the most hilarious car crash ever recorded on television.
We have friends watching on YouTube tonight, and apparently one of them misses Matthew. So if you've got fun comments, I will put them on the board for you. So thank you, Mr. Keys.
Yes,
anyway,
he did a good job, but oh man, that was foreshadowed like the way that Michael Bay uses pyrotechnics.
Okay, let me jump in here, and again, we can kick the ball around with this, but I want to get a few craft elements out, if I could, if I may.
Sure.
So I disagree with both of you, and your opinions are invalid. I believe.
What else is new?
Hey, welcome to my show. I believe that this was actually a more of an event picture than the first one. I actually like this one a lot more, and I think it's something to, when you're crafting and developing a sequel, there's always and I think I talked about this with you privately, Melissa, and maybe a bit with you on the show, David. There's always a desire to top your previous effort. You got to go bigger. Like we're doing this again. We're going back to the well. We got to make it bigger. We got to bring the crowd back. There's got to be a gimmick here. And I feel like, and sometimes that works, and sometimes they jump the shark and all of that. I think here, having the road trip to the south of France to deal with the villa and the family and the drama ensuing in that, felt like it gave the movie more stakes than stuff that happened in the previous movie. The film crew stuff, not so much, but I think this was an opportunity for, help me out with the character's name, the lady that was kind of running things in Mary. It really put a spotlight on Mary that I don't think she had in the first movie. Not that I can recall. At least I've watched it now twice. Saw it in the theater with you, and then we watched it last Thursday. And I feel like here she got more of a chance to shine on the big screen and was more of a centerpiece character. Go ahead, Melissa.
She wasn't a bitch. Mary's always a bitch. But that's what it is. She's traditionally just.
Do you think I'm sort of misinterpreting her lack of screen time with just the fact that I actually appreciated her on screen this time because she wasn't being a bitch?
That's how I think.
Yeah, she didn't have much to do in the previous film.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
All right,
like certainly the last season, that was kind of more her stepping into becoming the person running Downton. And in the previous film, we sort of had her talking with
she's the one who was dealing with and Carson and her trying to figure out how she was going to do it. I thought there was a lot that dealt with her. Just it was subtle.
Yeah, maybe that would be a better way to put it. Like she did have some stuff to do. It was subtle, but she wasn't like in the foreground running everything. Her was sort of going in the back.
Right, which is my point.
Yeah,
I feel like because they knew they were pushing Lady Grantham down a flight of stairs and out of the picture towards the end, that this was an opportunity to put Mary front and center. And if they're going to do more of these, now we know who the next Captain America is. So I appreciated that about the movie. And again, it gave the movie a little bit more depth. It gave it a little bit more gravitas, in my opinion. The other thing about it was having Lady Grantham die at the end. Spoilers. Those of you are like, damn it, I had no idea. I ruined the movie for me.
Welcome to Damn You Hollywood, everyone.
Yeah.
We're so sorry.
No, we're not. So, if Robert were here right now, he'd be doing a 20-minute bit on screw you and your spoilers. But I would tell you that, again, adding some depth to the movie, her passing at the end, sort of the family gathering around her, acknowledging this passing, celebrating her at the end, her connecting with her son. Like, I didn't have the context of why her son was like, was I ever a disappointment? But it seemed very heavy. It seemed like it had a lot of weight to it. Can you just 10 words or less, Melissa? What was the context? Why was he asking her at the end, was I a disappointment to you?
Because he didn't ever have the male heir, and he just kind of almost lost the estate, and that's why he was with Cora. He just kind of, I think he took himself as being kind of a more of a bumbling person than he really was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think again, you could probably grasp some of this from the movies, but certainly from the series. Maggie Smith's character, Violet, the Countess Dowager, she is someone who does not suffer fools well.
She is a ball buster.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah. So you could imagine, this is the way that she treats people that aren't her progeny. You can imagine what the standards were like growing up in, under her in the household. So I think that was sort of part of it. Do I ever measure up to her? This is a person who says, I do not argue, I explain.
Yeah.
And only ever said I was wrong about something on her deathbed.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to not live up to somebody else's standards. Anywho, so that resonated with me though. I hear him say that even without the context of having watched the show or really knowing what he was getting at, I could see the weight behind it, and so it was a really good performance. So I think here, A New Era really does make use of the cinematic space more so than the first one did. Moving around as it does, going to the south of France and some other location shots that they use in this movie also I gave it a grander feel. So I think that I think overall this was a better movie in almost every aspect than the first one. And I'm going to give you a chance to kind of respond to that, David.
Yeah, well, first let me say okay. Yeah, Michelle Dockery, she's a very talented actress.
Okay. Rule number one, if you're going to acknowledge the thing on the screen, you have to read the thing on screen.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So R. Key says, fun fact, the actor that plays the role of Mary is also a jazz singer in real life.
Thank you, David. Yeah. And thank you, Mr. Keys.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Yeah, I would say, when it is my time to go, if I'm lucky enough to be able to put my affairs in order, I hope I face it with as much dignity, grace, and humor as Violet does. Like my favorite line of the whole movie: "Would you please be quiet? I can't hear myself die."
Yeah, I want that on my tombstone. Can you make that happen for me, Melissa?
I can make that happen for you. I love that character. Is probably one of my most favorite characters.
Oh, she's the best. But even in the first one, I enjoyed her. You know, the
show.
Well, I would not know that, but her confrontation with what's her nuts, and the daughter, that's the maid, that's the daughter that he's a sister and her daughter. That whole confrontation, it's so subtle, but it had so much bite to it, which is one of the things I have come to enjoy about the two films, is because there's so much bombast in the American film landscape. It's kind of nice to see, what Eddie Izzard talked about with British cinema, where everything is underplayed and subtle, and and then it comes to America and they have to add explosions to the very same thing. The very thing, David.
Yes, the very thing. Yeah. Well, for me, coming from a mostly English family, like that is sort of how we talk. Not as posh as all of that, but there is that sort of that British humor under everything, where it's all very toned down, turns of phrases, kind of like low-key sniping.
I didn't realize that you were. I've always known you as Canadian and like Japanese, by culture. So I didn't realize that you were your family's actually from British. And I have to know, like, Cockney British. Can we get some Cockney out of you? Give me the Cockney. Give me some of that Cockney there, David. Come on, show me your Cockney.
Wants to say cock.
Knee, Cockney. This is a family show, madam. Behave yourself.
Yeah, it's like pianist. It's a funny word. It's a fun word to say because you know what everyone's hearing.
Can you whip out your Cockney for me?
No, not on the first date.
Oh, God damn it. We've known each other well blowing first dates here, sir. Anyway, back to you trying to take this
lady in the
seriously.
room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still in the room, which is impressive.
I am married to him, so
yes,
for almost 13 years now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna pursue that.
I wouldn't.
For me, one thing I would say is there's sort of, as my dad used to say, that you can sort of tell when a comedy movie series is circling the drain because there's a lot of toilet humor, dick and fart jokes that kind of get added in. Sure. And I almost think you could say the same for dramas, where when it gets to the point where they're actually making movies and plays within the movie itself.
That's like a really good point.
Yeah, the writers are sitting there like, I have no idea what else to write. Let's have them make a movie. We know what that's all about.
Like there's an executive from Universal, like Context Focus Features, like, hey, that Downton Abbey movie did really, really good. It sold a lot of tickets. We need another one. They're like, we don't have any fucking story left, man. Like, we're done here.
Yeah, it's like how Clerks 3 is apparently going to be about them filming Clerks in universe.
Good.
Like, I think we've run out of ideas at this point.
Kevin Smith ran out of ideas after Dogma, but that's hardly the issue here. I only have one other thing to add to this, and then if you guys want to give me last words, we can move on. This one also felt like it moved quicker. I think the editing helped here. In terms of
there are also a lot of subplots and changed direction enough times. There's always something going on and something different.
Well, you and I talked about this last week with the first one. It doesn't feel cohesive. It feels like it feels like a television show in that we have these different random plot lines that are just happening in the show, and you don't have to show a tremendous amount of cohesion in a television show because you're running this over episodes and you're focusing on different things and you're changing perspectives. With a film, I think you have to tie a little bit. Even though Ray goes in one direction and Poe goes in another direction, and what's his nuts goes in the third direction, they all kind of come together towards the end, towards the main goal of defeating the Empire. You don't necessarily have to do that in a television show, not at least in every episode. Mm-hmm. But that is exactly what happened in the first movie, where it just was like, there's the gay track, and then there's the spoon track, and then there was the king track, and none of these really interacted with each other. Whereas here, I feel like the stuff with the villa does play into the grander story, and obviously the filming of the talkie played into things too, and I felt like they came together to tell you a more cohesive narrative than not. And I'll give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, just before I forget, Daisy, I thought also had a good part in this film. Like, she's sort of been on the whole, like free the working class communist revolutionary bent. It was just kind of nice to see her just be like a smart, well-adjusted person.
Mm-hmm.
Her character arc has been amazing from like episode 1 till now, because you really do see her grow and mature and like go through that rebellious phase and then finally kind of mellow out and just be a hard, be a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
All right, Melissa, you've been sitting quiet for a little bit there. I've said a lot. Anything you want to respond to or give me last words before we move on to the money?
It just, I really enjoyed this. It was, as I said, it was such a great wrap up for.
Anything that you would have changed or anything that you would have liked to have seen done differently? You can say no if you don't think so.
I don't think so, in all truthfulness. Okay. I like it. I mean, I won't maybe want them to explore a little bit more with Mary and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I know I guess he couldn't do the show. And that was whatever it was, but like, I wanted to see them address that a little bit more, because I do think that plays to a modern audience as well. I don't, but again, like it's only a 2-hour movie. You can't do everything. Right. But I enjoyed it. I liked seeing some of the character changes. It was nice to see Barrow get a happy ending. He deserves it.
Were you referring to something else? Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. I truthfully, I loved the ending. I love where you see all of the house servants sitting around the table and you see the Crowleys around them. I thought that was just so kind of, just a great ending.
It's a nice visual to go out on.
Yeah, it was. It was really nice to see them all so happy and looking so, so posh and being the ones at the table, and to see the Crawleys kind of in the background. I thought that was a really good tribute to those people who really run that house.
All right, David, take me home, baby doll.
Yep, like I said, if this is to be the ending, it's a solid ending. There's not really anything major left undone. It would have been nice if they had kind of fleshed out a bit more of the subplots. Again, Tom Barrows just has a guy thrown at him and he's happy now, which again, you're happy for it, but it just kind of happens.
I mean, who isn't happy when men are being thrown at them? I mean, really?
Yeah, it's raining men. Hallelujah. Right? Yeah. That was for you, Mark. We kind of skipped the whole romance with other Tom at the, they just start with the wedding at the start, which like I didn't need to see it, but it was just okay. That happened. But again, like you say, it's a 2-hour movie. We have to sort of pick your battles, pick your stories, and like again, it was a nice happy ending. The line continues. If they really wanted, they could probably take it further into the future, though eventually they're going to have to decide what they want to do with the Second World War.
Yeah.
Can we go way into the future, like 2025? Like Downton Abbey, but on like a Star Trek ship?
That would be kind of fun and interesting, but I don't think they're gonna do that. that would go down as probably the most interesting sequel / spinoff in history.
Isn't that how Discovery went? It was like, we're in this year. We're 100 years from now.
Yeah, this isn't working. Screw it. Shove everything off the desk. Yeah. Like, I think Pike's last words as Discovery goes into the future is like, we must erase all records of this incident.
Please do that with Downton Abbey. I just want somebody to be like inventing a time machine and be like, nothing works, and like throwing everything off the desk, like you said. Downton Abbey in space.
Oh, God.
And when you add in space to things, it is time for the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
If you are watching this for the first time because you're friends of ours, or at least a friend of Melissa, and you're like, wait, what are they doing now? That was
again, sorry for the spoilers.
No, I'm not. This is we are a 3-segment show, and this is segment 2, where we talk about the financials. We talk about how well the movie did, how well it might do. We do some predictions. For most of the time, for my guests, this is the worst part of the show, but it's the part that Robert and I like the best, and it's our goddamn show, so fuck off. So here we go. My favorite part. On a budget of on a budget of $40 million at the time of this recording, which is the Tuesday after it premiered the previous Friday, it has earned $54.2 million. Presumably, this thing will get to $100 million. It'll be profitable. Do you remember, Dave, off the top of your head, what the first one made?
I do not.
All right. Here it is. On a budget of $20 million on the high end, that one made $200 million. So my only hesitation, and David, you and I have, you have watched me and Robert document this over time. The world has changed significantly since 2019 in terms of movie finances, in that you have now the 45-day window standard, which means, for those of you who like, what did he just say? In a month and a half, it's going to be on Peacock or some other streaming service. Presumably Peacock, as focus feature is Universal.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll do well on streaming. Like, this isn't a film you have to go see in the theater.
That's going to hurt its bottom line, which is the whole point. They greenlit a second one shortly after the first one.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah, I was going to say they started filming this before they knew the world was going to end. So, they were like, oh, well, surely this one, if the first one made almost $200 million, certainly the second one will, maybe even more. And then it's like, then the whole world changes and the entire film landscape changed. So I don't know how much. I think it'll get to 100 million, but I might be wishing upon a star. What do you think, Dave?
Not unrealistic. You would think, like, again, with this being a movie from a 7-series TV show, the fan base is pretty much there and constant at this point. So yeah, I would totally not blame any of the producers for going like, well, the first one made $200 million. Pretty much everyone that went to see that liked the show, and they'll probably go and see the next one. So we can pretty much bet on $200 million. Then pandemic and
and so those same people now just stay home, because who wants to go to the movies and possibly catch a cold? Yeah. Listen, Melissa, I know that you study film as much as I do, especially the financial end of it. And it's
totally.
One of your passion subjects. So you want to take a crack at this? Do you think it goes north or south of 100 million, which is where it needs to be?
I think it'll barely hit it.
You think it'll barely hit it? Okay.
It'll barely hit it. I think, truthfully, it'll be in the 90s. I don't know if it'll hit 100. And then it is because not as many people are going to the movies, and the people that love Downton Abbey, it's an older crowd too. They're the ones that aren't ready to come back out necessarily. So they're the ones that might not go.
Right. But but the other side of this, though, is that, as Robert Winfrey likes to say, Peacock's not a real service, and nobody has it except if you're a WWE fan. So that's the other side of this. People going, well, I want to watch it at home. What's it on? Peacock. What's that? So, plus or minus.
Might do good in-home video sales.
Yeah, maybe when it goes PVOD, people are like, I'll just rent it because I don't know what a Peacock is.
Or they'll buy it on iTunes or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean by PVOD. All right, so here's the weekend that was from May 20th to May 22nd. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Missed Opportunities. Through third week in the #1 spot. David, we talked about this on the Doctor Strange review, that by the time it got to Downton Abbey, this thing was not going to be the #1 movie, and it beat it. Doctor Strange took Downton Abbey into the corner and beat its face in. What do you think about that?
makes sense. I mean, Marvel movie, those are big. They appeal to a bigger crowd. The
Mm-hmm.
Downton Abbey, as much as it's a popular, well-regarded show, it is its own niche audience. I was not expecting this film to set the
Watched
world
by
on fire.
women and old people. It was, you know what I mean? It was a PBS show.
Our contention was that after 2 weeks and not a lot of hype anymore about Doctor Strange, a lot of, the sort of an anti-hype where it's like, oh, it's not what we thought this was going to be, that by this point there would be enough of a fall off. I mean, let me look at the chart again. Yeah, we had almost a 50% fall off in theaters for Doctor Strange from the previous 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying. That was why I contended that Downton Abbey was going to win the weekend. I'm shocked that it debuted at number 2, is my point. Which it did. And then The Bad Guys fell from 2 to 3. Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, all I have to say is but Mark, Doctor Strange is not an A-list Marvel character. Nobody wants to see a Doctor Strange movie. Marvel Studios is failing now, and they're not making money anymore because nothing makes as much money as Endgame.
Stop bullying my friends, David. Leave Chris Bailey alone. So moving on, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, currently I think the most highest performing video game movie in the history of film. 7 weeks on the charts, dropped from 3 to 4. Men. Debuted at number 5.
What is Men?
Men. Are you asking what Men is?
Yes.
It's clearly it's a movie. Men.
Okay.
Manly men. Dave knows what I'm talking about, right, Dave?
I do know a little bit about Men, but
I think this discussion. I think you're selling yourself short. I think you know quite a bit about Men. Anyway, it debuted at number 5. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Which can I talk to you about this movie for a second? I'm pissed off, Melissa. I tell you, I'm pissed off.
Why are you pissed off now?
Because I was promised PVOD on Everything, Everywhere, All at Once on May 17th, and I scheduled around it because I am the schedule. And then I look again, and it's not PVOD. You can buy it. I don't know if you know this or not, but you can buy pre-order, but it's not coming out to like the middle of June now for PVOD. Screwed up my whole calendar, goddamn, pal. Can you believe it?
Pronouns, pal.
Thank you, Vince. See, that's how you know you've been with me a while. She gets my references.
Yeah, I do.
And that fell from 5 to 6. Firestarter, which nobody saw, and is currently day and date on Peacock, fell from 4 to 7, because of course it did. Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Snoring fell from 6 to 8. The Lost City.
Still hanging in there. I'm impressed.
Not by much, though. The Northman, one of the best movies of the year, another Focus feature, fell from 7 to 10. Family Camp, 9 to 11. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, 10 to 12. And bomb.
Is that the one with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, that certainly is, Ollie. Debuting at number 13 is 2,000 Mules. The Roundup at 19. Good Morning at 26. Hold Your Fire at 35. Fire in the Mountains at 40. And Mondo Cane at 41. Where we stand worldwide, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is currently your number 1 movie in the world with 800 million. It has passed the Batman, David. The first one to do so all year. This, we talked about whether it is the $1 billion picture dead. Doctor Strange might be the one to keep that whole thing afloat. Though Robert and I have been
Spider-Man in it, and only one X-Man.
I know, and Robert and I have been saying like this might not get to $1 billion, but it's only got 200,000 left to go.
I think people at Marvel, Disney are quite happy with how things are going.
No one's jumping out of a window. Look, they're not. It's not like it's Sony or
It's like, well, we're still making money hand over fist.
Yeah, they're fine over at Disney. That brings us to the Batman, all 3 hours of it at 769. I think the people at Warner Brothers probably didn't jump out the window, but that's still, I still say that it didn't make $1 billion. They're like, what do we have to do? James Gunn's movie didn't underperformed.
3-hour movie.
What did you? Real quick, Melissa. So you were scared to death of The Dark Knight 100 years ago, and you just saw the Batman for the first time. What did you think of it, real quick?
I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood, do you not have bladders?
God damn it.
Got it.
You got him.
Almost angry dragon me. You
Dave
son
is
of a
my
bitch.
new favorite person.
That's
No,
not
I
hard.
mean, like, I couldn't keep doing it. It was just like, oh my gosh. And it's so dark.
Like honestly, if you're gonna do 3-hour films, you can at least have a film at the like 2-hour, 2.5-hour mark where just the characters turn to the film and say, like, this isn't gonna be important. You have time to take a piss.
Yeah. Run.
just a sign that comes up that says pee break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. In terms of the money, rewatchability is a factor. You know, everyone went to go see Avatar 800 times when that was in theaters, and that's why it made $2 billion. Not you, but you like crap, so it's fine.
Didn't like Avatar.
So you know that's why it made almost $3 billion in its day, 100 years ago. So I think to your point, Melissa, most normies won't do a 3-hour movie in theater. And they certainly aren't going to do it more than once if they do, you know, run that marathon, and that's going to affect your bottom line. Watergate Bridge, which is yet another Chinese Chinaman propaganda movie, currently at number 3 in the world at 626 million. Uncharted 400 million. Fantastic Beasts 388. Sonic the Hedgehog climbing the charts, number 1 with a bullet, 375. Too Cool to Kill 217. Nice View 211. The Bad Guys at 183. And finally at number 10, knocking out Morbius, as it should, because it sucked. The Lost City, starring Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock at 176 million.
Can I say I'm so happy that The Bad Guys is doing as well as it's doing? And
why are you so happy that The Bad Guys is doing as well as it's doing, Melissa Radulich of the Screaming Boy podcast?
Because it gets kids to read books.
Okay.
Look, the teacher in me is gonna come out and say that my second grade class, I had more than half of my kids start reading this series because their parents said, you read the first 2 books or you read the first book and I'll take you to the movies. And they devoured these books. And now they're like, what else can I read that's like this?
That's cool.
So, yeah,
and I'm sure that
this.
I'm sure that absolutely contributed to the movie's bottom line, because it was like, oh, I read this in school, I want to go see it on the screen now.
Exactly. Actually, I gotta see. I wonder if it's not PVOD at all, is it right now?
What? The Bad Guys?
Bad Guys.
I'd have to look, and we're doing a show right now, so I'm not going to look at my phone.
Okay. Tell me later, because that might be what we watch on Thursday for movie day.
I got you. All right. Well, whatever Downton Abbey does, it's done being even the number 2 movie of the weekend. The number 1 movie of this weekend is going to be Top Gun Maverick, and it's going to own your soul until Jurassic World comes out. Apparently, Top Gun Maverick, Dave, is just firing things up. It's getting rave reviews from men, as we like to say.
I've even seen a few women say nice things about it.
I hope.
Well, have you seen who's in it?
Besides Tom Cruise, who are you about?
There's a few of them. Like every time I see the preview, I'm like, oh, who's that?
Don't say Miles Teller, or Robert Winfrey will come from Utah and beat you upside the head. If anyone else in that cast, if you think it's that's fine, but don't say Miles Teller. He'll hurt you, and I won't. And I can't stop him. He's better at jiu-jitsu than I am.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick apparently is getting rave reviews from critics. Screeners where they actually had like real people at them think it's just the best thing ever. Apparently, despite the fact that it's been delayed more times than Morbius and New Mutants, and you know they started I think development on this thing during the 1700s.
There was an attempt to do a Top Gun 2 right after the first film, but the studio didn't want to pay for them to do any more like aerial recording.
Sure. Hey, look, I think it's a sound strategy to wait 40 years to do a sequel. It's fine. Anywho,
it's not been 40 years.
86.
That's still not 40.
It's close enough. I rounded up.
Shut up. Bite your
Oh, that's right.
tongue.
You're almost 42, rounding up.
You're also talking to a teacher.
Top Gun, Melissa Radulich. So anyway, aren't you glad you did this tonight?
I'm really wanting to walk in and just throttle your
It would be the first. That would be a first. First time I got assaulted on the show because somebody was in the room with me. Except for when Jason and I do our topless podcast.
I can tell you, Melissa, a lot of people would be very envious if you did that.
They're like, wait, there's a way that we can get on the show and assault him? That would be fantastic. Anywho, this is why we have a no in-studio audience policy.
Yeah, Robert, we're going, no, Melissa, stop. Your hands are too weak.
Yeah, let me help you.
Let me be your hand. Anyway, Top Gun Maverick is going to kick ass this weekend. In second place will most likely be Bob's Burgers. So I have a sneaking suspicion. I think the number one movie of the weekend will be Top Gun Maverick. Doctor Strange will be 2, Bob's Burgers 3, and then Downton Abbey will fall down to 4.
You think it'll stay that high?
Downton Abbey?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. It's like I said.
I would also point out that probably a lot of the Downton Abbey demographic is probably not the type to just run out and go see something opening weekend. Like, we'll go whenever.
Right. So while everyone else is seeing Top Gun Maverick or Bob's Burgers, like they might go see it. It's like, oh, it'll be a little empty, a little less.
Yeah, it might be a slow burn, but yeah, I don't think it's going to set the world on fire.
And as you can see, there are no good wide release movies in June 3rd because I think everyone just wanted to get out of Top Gun's way. So the next major motion picture that's going to be the number one movie of the weekend and start cutting into other people's worldwide takes will be Jurassic World Dominion, which I think will then pretty much put an end to the summer.
Yeah.
So that is the money. All right. In our next segment, for those of you playing the home game, we will be doing what is called the critical review. And we started this because I just got really interested in what critics were saying about movies. And the way Rotten Tomatoes works, for people that don't know, is you as a reviewer, of which I am not. Why am I not a reviewer on Rotten Tomatoes? Maybe it's because I don't have enough followers and enough listeners and enough viewers, but I don't see why that should stop me. And Fat Guy at the Movies is on there. Fat Guy at the Movies. It's the bane of my existence, Melissa. That's why I'm so mad all the time. Because a fat guy at the Kevin Carr, a fat guy at the movies, can be on Rotten Tomatoes. Why can't I? Mark Radulich of the Screaming Boy podcast. Anyway, shut up, Melissa. I can see your thoughts. So anyway, the critical review. People post their reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and then Rotten Tomatoes takes a line of that review and posts it, and that's what's featured. And I used to enjoy reading those to Robert to see if I could cause him to have an aneurysm. So... And I've succeeded on many occasions.
I didn't think it would be that hard.
It's harder than you think. But so, and if you've ever actually watched Robert have a live on air conniption, it is wildly entertaining. So you two now, and David, you've done this bit before. You now have to be Robert. Okay, I have to see if I can cause you to have a conniption, which means you get to be Alexis.
Me?
Yeah, you. You get to be Alexis, Robert, and David has to be Robert in my cosplay of the critical review. So here we go.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right. Actually, I want to put that back up there. Mark, Thor Love and Thunder will end the summer. I don't know, man. More people like dinosaurs than they like, girl Thor. So think about that. And remember, I hang out with comic people. They don't like girl Thor. All right. So Downton Abbey, A New Era. The critics were like, yeah, it's pretty good. And then, the people who actually saw the movie were like, it's the best thing ever. What the hell, man?
What a surprise. People that like the show like the movie.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be dismissive. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. So that's an 85% fresh tomato from the professional critics and then a 97% audience score. While Downton Abbey's frothiness comes close to curdling, A New Era's familiar comforts will please longtime fans. It is writing like that, which is why we all have like mild to massive headaches by the end of this bit.
I wonder if they were getting her coffee when they wrote that.
I hope. Susan Granger, one of our favorites on here from SSG Syndicate, Melissa. Get a load of this. If you're an avid fan of the PBS series and film franchise, you'll relish this highly satisfying, sentimental reunion. But if you're not acquainted with the backstories, this sequel may be bewildering. What do you think about that?
What would be bewildering about? There's nothing like. I feel like you could almost go into this movie having not seen anything.
Yeah. As somebody who hasn't seen anything, I was fine with it. It just felt like a movie. And I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you might not be all up on, but yeah, you can figure out the broad strokes of what's going on.
Speaking of broad strokes, the future ex-Mrs. Winfrey, Tanya Lamb of Lola Lamb Chops. I miss Robert now. Where are you, Robert Winfrey? Why? I need to harass you.
He abandoned you.
Oh, yeah, he noped out on this right quick. Downton Abbey, A New Era, delights fans of the Crawley family with an exceptional next chapter, as they come into modern times, always adapting with class and social commentary.
Your idea of what modern times is very generous.
I love that. But it's modern for them.
I think you can write the same review of 10 million BC or 10,000 BC by Rupert Emery. Bringing these cavemen into modern times, building pyramids.
Carla Renata of the Curvy Film Critic, yet another one I like to pick on. Dominic West and Laura McNulty, motherfucker. Dominic West and Laura Haddock as the ill-fated silent film stars seeking acceptance are standouts. And of course, what is Downton without the comedic wryness of the legendary Maggie Smith? Fans of the franchise will be deliciously delighted. It's a good use of alliteration there, madam.
That's the trick. That's how you become a writer.
Clearly.
She doesn't really mention anything about the actors other than that they exist.
Yeah, that was deeply unhelpful. Kevin Carr, the bane of my existence, a fat guy at the movie, says, it is a perfectly charming and wonderful British drama. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not a whole lot.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Thanks, Kev. Kevin Carr, a fat guy at the movie, says water is wet. Thank you, Kevin. Ian Thomas Malone of Ian Thomas Malone. Come on, say the thing, David. Say the thing because Robert's not here. Say the goddamn thing. Loser. One more time for the people in the cheap seats.
You self-employed loser.
He said the thing. He said the thing. Thank you.
I was quoting Robert for the record.
The film's pacing is perpetually rushed. The scenes awkwardly written to accommodate characters with nothing else to do. The supporting bench overstuffed with far too many returnees. Oh, I don't agree with any of that.
There's only like one scene that sort of felt put in there just for fun, and that was Carson buying the hat.
That was adorable, though.
Well, it was adorable, especially the little joke is like, "Oh, your wife will pay for it."
Yeah,
the film actors are actually married in real life.
Linda Holmes of NPR, top critic, Red Star. They get paid for this. This is a professional gig right here. Also, NPR, what your taxes are paying for, people who live in America. I want you to know your money paid for what I'm about to read. Your hard-earned money. You know that $60 per gas tank that you got to fill up here right now? Some of that to NPR. There is no gas in the tank. There is no water in the well.
There is no effort in this review.
And there is no hole in the wash tub. Fucking Linda Holmes. Okay. Here's one for you, David. Rodhayan Simon Pillai of Now Toronto, top critic. The trials and tribulations of passive income earners, where every other scene seems to be a discussion over tea and crumpets on who is inheriting what. It is almost delightfully absurd this time around, Melissa. What do you think about that?
I think he's a Red Star top critic because he's a communist.
Yeah. I agree with you. Did you want anything else there?
Yeah, for you. You have to work for a job writing reviews of movies.
So many of these people hate their jobs.
Yeah. Instead of hoping that the army doesn't come through your village and rape your wife and enslave your children and kill you and take all your stuff.
That's David having an aneurysm. Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm sorry, it gets annoying when I get like, we must defeat the upper classes and and get rid of their blasé lifestyle. It's like, you are the 1%, buddy.
All right. Well, seriously, I didn't know how this bit was going to go, but when I could piss David off.
I'm sorry you're not in the 0.001%.
All right, we got David's dander up, our resident Canadian, even keeled. Boy, not since you stole the plot synopsis from Robert 2 weeks ago at Doctor Strange have I seen the monster come out of David.
We had a deadline to meet.
Not at that time. By that point, everyone had quit for the second time. Speaking of quitting, Johnny Oleksinsky of the New York Post, top critic. What was once I'm gonna need you both to lose your shit on this because
Oh God.
What was once, Melissa, don't you understand, a sophisticated, edgy, witty, sexy drama series has become The Love Boat, season 10. And that, my friends, is a dated reference, but moving on. What was once a sophisticated, edgy, witty, sexy drama series has now become The Love Boat, season 10. Though these wax figures' love is even less exciting and new than that old show. Get him, Winfrey.
I'm guessing he's not familiar with the show at all.
I was gonna say, why is he comparing it to The Love Boat? I don't.
I mean, it was pretty much the Love Boat in season 1. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, like the first main storyline is we need to hook up Mary and cousin Matthew so she can inherit the estate.
Right.
And
Well,
then,
and she's
do
like
5 seasons of will they, won't they crap.
she's sneaking into bedrooms and killing guys.
Actually, he had a heart accident.
I didn't realize we were doing murder mysteries in Downton Abbey. I would have.
No,
you would have hooked
first
me earlier if you had.
Mary sneaks into the bedroom of a visiting diplomat to hook up with him, and they hook up, and he dies in the middle of it. And so then they have to go get the body back to the bedroom where he should be.
Because naked man in dead in bed.
Yeah, I mean, like it was
questions would be asked.
Yeah, questions, and then the whole thing was like her and Matthew. She's like, Matthew's not, because then she starts to fall in love with him. And she's like, he's never gonna want me. I'm compromised. I'm not a virgin. And he's like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, and this is Outlander you're talking about.
Nope, that would be Downton.
Right, it was Rain, right, on the CW.
I mean, there's that and that too.
Yeah.
Turkish diplomat, Pamuk, Mr. Pamuk.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you, Arkeys.
All right. Well, folks, that is our show. That's the fastest we've done.
I really like when there's people in chat who know the names of all the characters who can fill in.
I know.
Sir. Thank you.
Thanks for the assist.
Oh no, the chat since we've gone to video is fantastic when people are actually watching. So this, David, don't you understand? This is the fastest we've ever done Damn You Hollywood. We are usually at like 2 hours. Like we wrapped up this whole thing in just over an hour. How do you feel about that? I feel like we should just talk for another hour. Who wants to take a BDSM quiz? Who's ready? No.
So that escalated quickly.
It's your turn, David. No, we're done. All right. So let's get into plugs. So real quick, for the rest of the week, we've got tomorrow Unspoken Issues, Extreme Justice from over at their source material. That's Jesse Starcher's show. Tomorrow night on the Metal Hammer of Doom, the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra, I'm going to talk about nude beaches, and I'm going to talk about what else did I do this past weekend? There's something else I did that's
burlesque show.
Oh yeah, I got to talk about the burlesque show. Yeah. We may also review a music video by Def Leppard. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? But I am definitely going to tell in vascular detail. I will be talking about the nude beach and the burlesque show. So tune in to that. And then audio only after that, we will be reviewing the new Watain album, The Ecstasy of something or other. The Agony, Melissa. An ecstasy of Watain. What do you think about Watain, Melissa? You like him?
What?
What's a Watain?
Yeah.
It's metal, man. It's what men listen to. Men.
I'll take my music, thanks.
That's okay. So yeah, we'll be reviewing that on the Metal Hammer of Doom tomorrow night. Thursday, we're back with another Four Kings of Boxing. We're up to Leonard versus Hearns 2, and then a special Friday show. I've got Christian coming on with Al Sedano of the Warlock and Thanos podcast to do DMZ, which is a brief 4-episode miniseries on HBO Max that was based on, I believe, the DC comic. There'll also be a source material for Mad Balls. David and I reviewed Top Gun from 1986 last night. That's now in the archives. And also because we're celebrating all things fighter jet, myself and Pat Mullen a couple of years ago did an alternative commentary for the greatest aviation movie in the history of motion pictures, Iron Eagle, David. And
very qualified statement, but sure.
Totally 80s Pat Mullen says it's better than Top Gun. That's what I'm going with. And there's not excessive shots of Kelly McGinnis's teeth in Iron Eagle. It's a superior movie in every way. So there's an alternative commentary for that currently up in the archives. All right, Melissa, go ahead and do your plugs. Would you like to plug your Snapchat? Would you like to plug your Amazon wish list? Is there anything social media, your Instagram, your Facebook?
Nope.
Nope. You know,
although I mean, like, I do have an Amazon.
Where can all of your fans? Where can all of your vast array of fans that you have acquired over the years through your animal magnetism find you in the world, to communicate with you, to send you pictures and love? Where can they find you, Melissa Radulich of the Screaming Boy Podcast?
If they need to find me, they already know how.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Mark, what do I want to plug?
I don't know. Don't you actually have like a teacher wish list?
I do on Amazon, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
David.
I don't do this stuff. This is all you. I just go teach second grade, okay? I got 2 more days left.
Okay. You gonna come back on again? What are we gonna get you on for next? What do you want to do next? What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Jurassic World?
No.
You want to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, and Girl Thor? No?
No.
Should we get you on for Anaconda with you and Jason Teasley?
Because your Anaconda don't want none unless it's got buns, hun?
That would be correct.
She knows you so well.
She really does. For almost 14 years.
14 years together.
All right, David, what are you doing next with me? What are we doing together?
We're doing Top Gun Maverick.
That's right, buddy. In
Have
2
fun.
A few years in the making.
weeks. Yes, more delays than New Mutants. All right, folks, that's all for me. Thanks. I'm driving for the lovely, the vivacious, the Snapchatty, Melissa Radulich.
I thought you were talking about me for a second there.
For the lovely and vivacious and Snapchatty, David Wright.
Oh, you tease.
That's me. Be well, be safe, and behave.